Good morning, class 6. How are you all doing? So great. It's good to see you back. You had a wonderful weekend and all that, and a good vacation. So, I am here with again Unit 4, my English folder, Unit 4, and the story is The Eyes Have It by Ruskin Bond. Again, a beautiful writer. Ruskin Bond, I have told you earlier also, I guess, born 1934, is an Indian author of British parentage. He was born in Kasauli, Himachal Pradesh, and grew up in Shimla, Jamnagar, Dehradun, Mussoorie, and even spent some time in London. He now lives in Landore, Mussoorie, North India, which is his adopted family. Bond has written over 300 short stories, essays, and novels, and more than 30 books for children. His childhood in the hill stations at the foothills of the Himalayas has greatly influenced the most of his writings. He wrote his first novel, The Room on the Roof, when he was just 17. Many of his literary efforts have been adapted for television and films. The movie adaptation of his popular children's novel, The Blue Umbrella, won the National Award for Best Children's Films. Ruskin has been honored with many prestigious awards, including the Sahitya Academy Award, the Padma Shri, and the Padma Bhushan. I have told you about this earlier. And I was also in the hills, so staying in the hills, it changes your type of thinking and all. It seems that you are very close to God. It's like that. So this is the story Eyes Have It. Now, people who cannot see have highly developed other senses. Is it a myth or reality? Is it just a saying? Is it really true or is it reality? Does it really happen? There is a common belief, I am reading your book only. There is a common belief that blindness enhances the other senses in a person. In other words, people who have lost their vision are believed to develop a highly acute sense of hearing, smell, or touch. However, there appears to be a very little scientific evidence to support this theory. I don't want to go deep into it. What really happens perhaps is that blind people tend to depend more on other senses in order to understand the world around them. That is very true. Do you have any friends or family members who have lost their sight? What is your impression of the way they depend on their other senses? Well, I don't have, God bless me, that I don't have anyone in my family who is blind, but when I was in the military, I have few incidents where my colleagues have been blinded because of the bomb blast or shooting, or they got hurt, their eyes got hurt and they were not able to see later. It's very tough. By birth being blind, or in your childhood by any reason you get blind, and blind people who I see sometimes are begging around. I've seen blind people working in offices. I've seen blind people do a lot of things, going to the market alone, coming back, and they know their way out. They depend on other senses. They can smell and say that if you are there or not. With the touch they can see. Their brain works towards that. When I'm saying you, okay, I'm seeing, my brain is not working so much. I'm seeing you right now, I'm talking to you, I'm doing a recording, it's okay, fine. But if I'm not able to see you, then I have to decide. My brain has to start thinking. And when the brain starts thinking, it can do wonders. It can do wonders. If the brains can make Google, brains can make anything. Okay. So, this is about a story, I don't know, it's in the train where we are traveling. There's a person, the two people traveling. And sometimes, it's possible in our lifetime. Having the best eyes means no power, and I have glasses now, it's got spoiled, my eyes are spoiled. So even you have the perfect eyes and your power and all is okay, fine, you're healthy with your eyes, but that too we don't see the things. You're understanding my point? We don't get to see the bad. We cannot differentiate from the good and the bad. Eyes are seeing that, but if you see me in school, how can you say that I'm good or bad? You can't. I may be good to you, I may be bad to someone, but that doesn't make me a bad or a good person. You have to judge that person, not with your eyes, with your brains. Eyes help you to take in the information. Ears also help you to take in the information. This also helps you to take in the information, and this helps you to speak out. But once you speak, you cannot take it back. That's why they say if eyes could kill. I look at you with someone with such a bad intention in my eyes, if I could kill that person, my eyes could kill, I didn't have to use my hand or I didn't have to use a gun. Right? So this is what it's all about. So even though having the best pair of eyes, sometimes we don't, but people who don't even know are not able to see, they can sense everything. They can sense danger, they can sense goodness, they can sense who's good, who's bad, who's touching them properly, who's holding them properly, everything understood by them. So let's start. I'll just read through the story and then I'll explain. So that will be easier for us. We'll be on the same page, 31. The Eyes Have It, written by Ruskin Bond. I had the train compartment to myself up to Rohana. Then a girl got in. The couple who saw her off were probably her parents. Now Ruskin Bond is sitting in the train. Rohana is a station where he must have got up, where the train stopped and this girl got up, and the people who had come to drop her to the station must have been her parents. They seemed very anxious about her comfort, and the woman gave the girl detailed instruction as to where to keep her things, when not to lean out of windows, and how to avoid speaking to strangers. They called their goodbyes and the train pulled out of the station. Parents are generally very concerned about their children, right? So when when a couple is come and putting up someone in the train or seeing them off, they tell them, do this, eat properly, don't talk to strangers. If someone gives it to you, don't take anything. Don't say where you are going, sit quietly on your seat only. Don't let anyone sit on your seat. Don't put your hand out of the window. Who will say all this? Parents? Or the people who are like parents, who are very close to you, who care for you? They are the people who want to tell you about all this, isn't it? So the person sitting there, Ruskin Bond, he is writing the story. So he is assuming that they are so concerned about her. So they said goodbye, take care of yourself, and the train left the station. As I was totally blind at the time, my eyes sensitive only to light and darkness, I was unable to tell what the girl looked like. But I knew she wore slippers from the way they slapped against her heels. It would take some time to discover something about her looks, and perhaps I never would. But I liked the sound of her voice and even the sound of her slippers. So the person sitting is assuming he's blind, he doesn't have eyes, he can only understand the darkness and the light, nothing else he can see. He can just feel that through his eyes. But he's assuming with the sound that she's wearing chappals or flip-flops. When we walk, chatak, chatak, it makes a sound. When we are walking with slippers, when we are walking with other shoe type of thing, the other heel makes another sound. Isn't it? Sometimes we knowingly make sound with our slippers. We want to walk in such a way that it makes too much of sound. Sometimes people walk, it doesn't sound, but generally when you walk with a slipper on, with a chappal on, you know that that's the sound what comes. Tap, tap, tap. It flaps, it hits your heel at the back, isn't it? So he came to know that she's wearing her chappals, and the voice also he liked. But he does not assume, he's not able to assume what else is happening there. So are you going all the way to Dehra? I asked. Dehra means Dehradun. Like we say Muz to Muzaffarpur, like Dehra to Dehradun. I must have been sitting in a dark corner because my voice startled her. She gave a little exclamation and said, I didn't know anyone else was here. Well, it often happens that people with good eyesight fail to see what is right in front of them. They have too much to take in, I suppose. Whereas people who cannot see or see very little have to take in only the essentials, whatever registers most tellingly on their remaining senses. Nicely said. This lady or this girl had eyes. She got inside the train, she sat, she did not see him. She has got eyes. But the person who is sitting there, Ruskin Bond, he's thinking himself to be blind. But he is able to understand what she is wearing, how is her voice. And she with two eyes could not see. Imagine the contrast, how people don't try to see, but because of his blindness he is trying to put his sixth sense into his, telling him most forcefully, his tellings that there is someone here. His sense is working, his sixth sense is working. The necessary items, which it says essentials are called necessary items here, where people who cannot see or see very little have to take in the only essentials. They think when you can't see, you are not getting total details, but whatever is necessary comes to their ears, they try to understand with that. They assume, they presume that that's what is there in front of them. Very nice. Ruskin Bond is really good. Keeps the suspense going. I didn't see you either, I said, but I heard you come in. Obviously he didn't see, but she thinks that he can see. Eyes are there, but you can see or not see, that's up to, you have to judge. So he said, I also didn't see you either, but I heard you. Wonderful. I wondered if I would be able to prevent her from discovering that I was blind. Provided I keep to my seat, I thought I shouldn't be too difficult. He said, I don't want that, I wondered if I would be able to prevent. I don't want that other person to know that I am blind. I don't want to crack that surprise right now. If I sit quietly in my place, no one will know. But if I am able to walk, I'll try to search things. Then only people will know that I am blind. But till then, if I sit quietly in my place, no one knows what's happening. It's like that. If I sit quietly, if I am not speaking, no one knows what I am. Once I start to speak, my quality comes up. For everybody. So speak when you are spoken to is better. It's better you listen more and speak less and work harder. So the girl said, I am getting off at Saharanpur. My aunt is meeting me there. Then I had better not get too familiar, I replied. Aunts are usually formidable creatures. Where are you going, she asked. To Dehra and then to Mussoorie. The girl said, I am going off to Saharanpur, but my aunt is meeting me there. Then I had better not to get familiar, because my parents and all said that I impressive, formidable, impressive, arousing fear of admiration. Thank you for asking, but I am not allowed to talk so much. I shouldn't be doing that. You know what happens to aunts and all. Aunts are usually formidable creatures. They are very inquisitive. Why were you talking? Who was that? What happened? They don't understand, relatives are very inquisitive. Where are you going? So automatically she asked, still the station hasn't come, Saharanpur, so no problem in talking. So she said, where are you going? He said, to Dehra and then to Mussoorie. I'll come back in the next video.